I've been thinking a lot about this concept of like Bitcoin underperforming. Some people have been saying that Bitcoin is underperforming. Yeah, and if you look at the year to date, like the perfect year to date, definitely lower than the 40 to 50% CAGR that Bitcoin historically has. Um, so I think, and then a lot of people kind of just like, well, of course, like the giant ROI is going to go down over time as it gets monetized. Like there's that, and then there's like the that's not exactly my. Like I get that, but that's not exactly my thing. It's more about like underperforming compared to what? Underperforming compared to what? Because it's still beating a high yield savings account. It's beating a high yield savings account, and I see it as a cash replacement. And I don't even just mean that in like a I'm not even in like a philosophical moral sense of like Bitcoin's better than fiat money. Like just truly, that's I. The more that I've like poked my head up and like been making these videos, reviewing other fintech apps, and just like watching different dividend channels, the more that I've just been kind of resurveying how people talk about Bitcoin from different parts of the internet and how different products think about Bitcoin. Yeah, I just realized that I've a completely like unique perspective on just like where I see it fitting in my personal finances because I don't compare Bitcoin to the S&P 500. I don't compare Bitcoin to the gold market. I don't like to me that sort of investing is so random. That's so random. I don't know what the price of gold is going to do. I don't know what the price of S&P 500 like all I really know is that they're never going to stop printing money. They are never going to stop printing money. Bitcoin has the best shot at replacing dollars as the new world reserve currency. That's a really deep thing to say. It's a really deep thing to say. And like regular people, stock traders, gold, but like all these different people, real estate investors, realizing that you, like people that get concentrated on one thing and really learn and know one thing, often don't know about other stuff. So in the same way that I've had my head down so hard on just the concept of Bitcoin and Bitcoin financial services, there's other people that entire time just saw Bitcoin and crypto as just random. They see Bitcoin and crypto as combined in the same thing, and they see it as just random and hard to understand, and not even necessarily hard to just like not worth understanding almost. And so I definitely could like level up my understanding of the stock market probably and just like have a little more humility for just like appreciating stocks more. I probably could. And I've said like I'm neutral on them. I'm just neutral on it. I just don't I don't I don't have any desire to invest in a regular index fund. I just don't want to invest in a regular index fund because I just don't want to know another thing that I don't think gets talked about enough is when you think about like stock investing, index investing, dude, companies are not efficient. Like companies are very weird things. We've all worked at like companies are very weird things. And so for us to just blindly like buy an index, and so it doesn't seem in the S&P 500 doesn't seem tied to how well these companies are doing or not doing. It just seems like people are just on DCAing the S&P 500. And so when you break it down like that, I the mechanics of DCAing Bitcoin have a higher upside. Like absolutely have a higher upside. And if in any one 365-day period it like lags or whatever, that's honestly okay. Like that's probably because of just just flows, just people figuring it out. Just straight up people figuring it out. So in the same way that I've like ignored stocks, there's people that know a lot about stocks that have just ignored Bitcoin and ignored crypto. The other thing I think is interesting is how it always like I feel like there's a pattern of Bitcoin like rebounding on uh Mondays, which again, there probably you want to know what? There probably is like a and this is the thing with Grok and ChatGPT and all this stuff now, and I haven't done this yet. Uh, but I've just realized every time you hit a wall, like I wonder why that happens. You can crush through that now. You can crush through that now, and there's almost so many times where you can like try to learn new things that it's honestly exhausting, kind of knowing that like you can pull it up, get the prompt right, and like really push your brain forward. And so something that I would push my brain forward on is like, so you have these big dips, but then yeah, there's just momentum for the week. And so like you can see price this morning like having momentum for the week. This is all no coffee heading into the week. Just woke up, looked at the prices, looked at momentum, seeing what's happening. And when I say momentum, I'm not saying like some like it's not a technical analysis thing. It's just like momentum. Like I can feel the momentum. You can feel the momentum heading into the week. And so the other question I've been pondering a lot of, and it was asked by people on the channel was like, what do you do differently in a bull market or a bear market? And that one's so hard for me to answer. It's so hard for me to answer because even thinking right now, like, oh, like what if the bull market is over? Like, what if the bull market is over right now? No, I don't think it is, but I also don't like objectively of the cycles of Bitcoin. I haven't. I've never really been attached to that for forever, really. Yeah. So I'm not a great cycles person as far as thinking about when it's over and when it's not over. And but the one thing that is different this time, at least for me personally, is well, so step back. What do I do differently in a bull market and bear market? Nothing. I don't do anything different in a bull market and bear market because I'm bad at calling bull market versus bear market. What do? I have a directional north star of making net worth go up. Okay? Directional north star making net worth go up. I have 3 buckets of money. I have USD, I have Bitcoin, I have USD credit. I move between those buckets of money while making net worth go up, while living a comfortable life. The new piece is BTCI, is these Bitcoin covered call funds. And so now I do semi have an answer of like, oh, what would you do in a bear market? Well, what I would do in a bull market and a bear market now is now also stack BTCI because it has some part of the Bitcoin upside paired with some covered calls selling away the upside to produce income today. So that in and of itself is like hedging. That is hedging. So the fact that this product is having like a lot of growth and the fact that it has a lot of positivity in the Bitcoin community and the non-Bitcoin community is just interesting. Like it's hitting my life at a great stage because I have been interested in like a light hedge that still has upside but still produces income for bills today. And so I think that's really interesting. And that's what's different. And I do think that like the classic, like crypto people love to say that there's these been really orderly cycles where you can like time it on the halving and all this stuff. And it's just like really obvious. And I don't think it's obvious. I don't think it's obvious at all. So I actually don't subscribe that Bitcoin has cycles at all. Okay. And if they do, it's tied to other like I started the whole video. It feels random, but I started the whole video with like, I have a blind spot for stocks. I have a blind spot for stocks. So the stock market has cycles. Okay. And I just wonder how correlated like Bitcoin and crypto markets are to that. It doesn't, I don't think it's so tied to the halving or like, I think crypto and Bitcoin is still very small and it's getting tossed around by bigger, broader things. And I think people in Bitcoin and crypto are growing up and their net worths are rising and they're becoming older and they're getting into different pockets of the internet now that like this is kind of an overplayed thing to say, but Bitcoin is growing up. Like Bitcoin is getting into more and more people's hands. And so yeah, I don't subscribe to the classic cycle theory or even believe that it was as orderly as we kind of like retroactively look back and tell ourselves. And so momentum heading into this week, BTCI is a hedge that works in a bull market and a bear market. I don't think the cycles have been as obvious as we like to tell ourselves that we are. And I mean, I'm positioned, I think we're going really way higher from here.